What's up, you guys? Welcome to the February 22nd edition of NBA 3-Ball, presented by Establish the Run. I'm your host, Mike Gallagher. Get ready to break down Sunday's action, talk some news over the weekend, and hit some fantasy ads. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, please. And let's do this thing in 10 minutes and start with the big news of the weekend is DeMarcus Cousins and the Rockets have reportedly agreed to part ways, according to Shams Charania, certainly one of the most legit reporters out there. And interestingly, during Stephen Silas' press conference, he said that it's just a rumor, and he was expecting him to play, but then added that he has a foot and Achilles injury, and he's now questionable. So probably think he's going to sit. This whole thing is about playing younger players and playing small ball and all this until Christian Wood, who is, quote, a ways away, according to Stephen Silas, while Victor Oladipo only did some stuff in practice. He probably needs at least another game. PJ Tucker went through the drills and everything. He should be back. So probably expect PJ Tucker to start. Jae'Sean Tate, jack of all trades, really playing every front court position. He'll continue to see a ton of playing time. And yeah, obviously Cousins, if he goes somewhere, he would probably gain value because Silas doesn't really trust him unless he's going up against a big guy like Joel Embiid. We saw him pop off in that game. And also, super quick side note that Kevin Porter Jr. has been really good in the G League, and Stephen Silas said that they're playing him at point guard to hope that he could kind of fit in there. So something to keep an eye. We know they like to play Eric Gordon off ball. Maybe, John Wall down the line, talking last 10 games or something with all the knee injuries, and maybe they tank, maybe they give Kevin Porter Jr. a little more run. Super duper talented guy. We saw what he was doing last year before he had the kind of personal issues to keep him off the court so far this year. Let's get to Sunday's basketball action and start with the Pelicans. Wild comeback down 24 in the middle of the third, and they get a win in what was a ridiculously long overtime period. It took like a half an hour in real time. But anyways, Brandon Ingram was awesome. Zion Williamson, man, continues to bring the ball up, really runs the offense. And they went with peanut butter Melly time. Nicola Melly got a lot of time late after the game. Stan Van Gundy said he liked the extra spacing that it gave Zion and Brandon Ingram, so it gave him props for looking at the extra time there, which was a little, again, just big time surprise as the Celtics went a lot bigger. But Eric Bledsoe lost a lot of minutes to Josh Hart, which is going to happen. Bledsoe certainly hasn't really clicked lately. Kind of droppable if you wanted to pick up somebody hot. Kyra Lewis also was affected here because Hart was playing so well. But yeah, Lonzo was really good. Didn't have the big box score, but he made a lot of, quote, winning plays, a la Marcus Smart. Speaking of Marcus Smart, he is traveling with the team, so maybe he's getting closer. Probably still unlikely he returns before the break. And yeah, Jason Tatum was really good. Hit a big shot to get the game to OT. It was just a really great game to watch. Aaron Nesmith continues to earn playing time. Kemba still has been kind of hit or miss. He had a couple. He looked like he was going to get it going early, but couldn't really lock it down. Robert Williams played a lot in the late stretches in the fourth quarter and overtime. There were 6 minutes of Daniel Tice and Time Lord minutes today. 50 minutes combined previously on the year, so it's a pretty decent jump. But again, matchup though. Zion. And they put Robert Williams defended Zion pretty well. So and then Stevens also said it was very interesting that they were trying to manage his minutes a little bit, Time Lord, to maybe play him more later in the year. So that should certainly get your attention. And he is outplaying pretty much everybody. Tice has not been the same caliber player, both as from an offensive standpoint and even from a defensive standpoint. He was a really good pick and roll defender, and he's still fine, but he doesn't really take that away like he was last year. Other than that, yeah, this rotation is going to be a mess besides the main guys. OKC gets the win in Cleveland. Shea he had some tough matchups, was tired. Even Mark Daigneault said he was tired, kind of coming into the game, and he just took over with a 31-9 assist game. Al Horford continues to be great. Expect him to sit today, so probably see Isaiah Roby start. And after the game, Mark Daigneault said that they've really been trying to challenge him with tougher experiences, so probably see Isaiah Roby get the start, minutes in the upper 20s, and what should be a pretty tight rotation. Mike Muscala was also really big time off the bench, plus 20 in 17 minutes. I streamed him for the back-to-back today, so he'll be looking at probably minutes in the low 20s to split with Roby. But yeah, Teo Maledon's continues to make shots. I don't think he can shoot this well, so he's kind of a sell high to me, as Darius Bazley still doing more than just scoring, but he had a couple really nice shots today, but he's still got a little bit more growth to do, and I expect it to happen. To the Cavs, yeah, Darius Garland played pretty well, and Jarrett Allen just awesome after the game. JB Bickerstaff said that we need him to play well, so they have high expectations, and he hasn't reached his potential yet. Said it before, him and Garland have really good chemistry together, and that continues here. Allen, 11 of 11, by the way. I mean, just awesome on offense, and he could score. Again, they ran that 1-5 pick and roll all day, like back with D'Angelo, Spencer Dinwiddie. That was like their thing. So he could certainly fit with Garland more being an on-ball guy. It's Colin Sexton, certainly. Sexland was certainly not the problem offensively. They just got lit up by Shea too much. And after the game, Bickerstaff said that their on-ball defense has been the issue because there's so much help and they're kind of trying to correct and make too many reactionary moves. So that's why teams have kind of been lighting them up. Moving to the Pistons, who will not have DeLon Wright for at least 2 weeks with a grade 2 groin strain, so that puts him out until at least the All-Star break, possibly beyond. Trade deadline on the 25th of next month, so possibly a name that could come up as this team is clearly rebuilding and DeLon could provide some value. So it was Dennis Smith starting, getting the first 8 minutes in the first half, and then not playing the rest, with Saben Lee kind of taking over in the second quarter, and then pretty much the same thing in the second half. And then DSJ came in with a minute 5 when they were trailing for whatever reason. And after the game, Casey said the whole complexion of the game changed when Saben Lee was in there. And he was pretty good with career highs basically across the board with his 12-4 and 5-3 steal game. Certainly going to be probably close to a split. Frank Jackson could still get in the mix at some point. He's up. They're both on 2 ways. They're counting their games played because they're limited to 50. So it's something to keep an eye on. Another takeaway that we've kind of already decided here is Wayne Ellington continues to lose playing time to Josh Jackson because they don't need Ellington space anymore with Sadiq Bey in that first unit taking 10 threes. And that's going to continue here. So, yeah, Josh Jackson's locked in. Ellington's not. Point guard is a mess. I would probably bet on DSJ, but I guess I would take Saben Lee because it's hot hand and he played so well. Really nothing to say with the Magic besides Vooch is a beast. Fournier is playing really well, and Chuma Okeke seems to be kind of thriving as the main guy. Alfred Camino got the start as they're looking for answers here. 76ers drop into the Raptors. Not much to say. Embiid tweaked his foot, looked fine. Obviously had a pretty big stat line. What else is new? Ben Simmons returned from his illness. Certainly looked fine there. And yeah, Danny Green, big defensive stats, and also somewhat noteworthy, Isaiah Joe was ahead of Furkan Korkmaz, who's been really bad this season. Kyle Lowry missed another one, and surprisingly, the Raptors went small after Nick Nurse said he was thinking about going bigger. Still, Aaron Baines was great in his 30 minutes, which we kind of expected. Chris Boucher also played really well in his 25 minutes. Fred VanVleet obviously is the man. Cold game for Norm Powell, that's fine. And Siakam, big playing time for him with 41 minutes. Starting to get a pretty good feel, and hopefully Nurse will get Lowry back soon. The Nuggets got smacked. Gary Harris without a timetable to return. No J-Mike, no Millsap, no PJ Dozier. And then Mike Malone said that was the big concern is how they're missing so many guys. He was asked about Michael Porter Jr. getting only 19 minutes. He said, quote, "We were getting our ass kicked." And he pulled a bunch of guys, so he didn't put it just on MPJ, which he somewhat kind of subtweetingly does sometimes. And Jamal Murray, man, he is back. I had mentioned on Alex Kennedy's podcast last week that I thought Murray was back before his 50-point game, just to give you some credit there. But yeah, he's making these open shots that he was missing before, and the shot selection has been pretty similar. So I think it was just a matter of him not being great. And then Monte Morris also had a really good game off the bench. We know Malone loves him. The Hawks, Trae just killed him, 35-15, his fifth 30-15 game of his career, got to the line 13 times, just total domination. They couldn't stop him pick and roll all day. Collins, pretty solid. Capella was really the main reason why they were killing him with that 1-5 pick and roll. As the starters have kind of solidified their value. Cam Reddish had a pretty good weekend, had that 5-steal game, and then Herter also, taking a little bit of pressure off Trae, but doesn't have the big upside like Reddish does because of his steals. And just as I'm recording this, we found out that Ryan Saunders has been fired and has been replaced with Chris Finch. He's kind of the big man whisperer. Boucher, he kind of helped Boucher a little bit, and other bigs as well. Jokic is one of them. So something to keep an eye on there. But obviously, this is great news for the Wolves, who've just been running such messy rotation. So I feel a lot better about Jaden McDaniels, Jared Vanderbilt. Obviously, Malik Beasley will be fine. Karl-Anthony Towns will be fine. Have to worry about a little bit of shutdown risk late in the season. But yeah, other than that, we'll see what happens. I'll talk more about this on the pod tomorrow. Knicks-wise, not much to say besides, Manuel quickly got cut down big time. So possible drop if you don't want to deal with the ups and downs, because there's going to probably be a lot of them. We'll save the 2 late games for the solo pod today. Let's get to the ads. Robert Williams, like I said, it's got to be added. I'm assuming Josh Hart's already owned. You could argue the Chris Finch hiring, Ryan Saunders firing is the best for Jaden McDaniels. I mentioned Chris Finch is a great big man whisperer. A really good spot for him. I think Jared Vanderbilt also benefits from a tighter rotation. Prefer McDaniels over the 2. Isaiah Roby should get a start today with Al Horford likely resting. Shake Milton's back. We know Doc Rivers said he doesn't like his bench, so he would benefit here. Chuma Okeke continues to play great and really earns playing time with Aminu limited, Gary Clark out of the mix, Ken Burch not exactly locking minutes down. Bruce Brown benefits here, and also Jeff Green hurt his shoulder So that's something to keep an eye on. He was mad. He kicked over the Gatorade canister. So Bruce Brown will get an even bigger bump, who's already really stepped up from Kevin Durant. And then Saben Lee, like I said, I guess add him. I guess I'd prefer him over Dennis Smith Jr., given how great he played compared to DSJ. That's it. Catch me on the Solo Pod.